Hello and welcome to today's PSHE lesson. In today's session, we are going to consider the topic of depression. This is a great opportunity for us to just reflect on how we're feeling at this moment and also to understand a lot more about depression. So we're going to understand what depression is and what causes it, and we're going to identify signs of depression and how to seek help. So in this first task, what I would like you to do, there are 6 post-it notes, so you can either write it down or you can discuss it. It's entirely up to you, or you can even use post-it notes if you have. What I'd like you to do is I'd like you to think about what makes you happy. So I know, for example, one of the things that really helps me every day is taking my dog out for a walk and just seeing the beautiful surroundings around me, whether it is a foggy morning, whether there are clouds down in the valley, or whether it is just a beautiful bright blue sky. That makes me happy. So what I'd like you to do is list 6 things that you know makes you happy, and then reflect on 6 things that makes you feel sad. Once you're done, restart the video. Now, years ago, the drinks company Dr. Pepper's ran an advertising campaign based on young people's worst fears. Now, this is a little bit crazy, but I thought it would be fun. So what I'd like you to do is pause this video and switch to the clip that I have added for you to watch on YouTube. Hilarious, isn't it? I mean, the chances of that happening is really slim. But we do sometimes have those crazy moments where we think, oh, what's the worst thing that can happen? And how often does that just not happen? Now, my question to you is, have you ever felt anxious? What I'd like you to do is I'd like you to complete this sentence. So when you have felt anxious, how did that make you feel? So for example, sometimes I can remember going for an interview and feeling the butterflies in my stomach, which just because I was anxious because it was a really big deal. What are the kind of things that make you feel anxious? Perhaps it is trying to go back to a normal after the COVID virus. Perhaps it is seeing a dog if you've had a bad experience with a dog in the past. But what I want you to concentrate on is, how does that make you feel? So complete the sentence. Anxiety feels like ... Pause the video and have some time to think. Now, it's true that everyone's experience of anxiety is different. And for every person, anxiety feels different according to how strong that feeling is. Now, you were thinking about, how does anxiety make you feel? Sometimes it can affect our body. You can feel lightheaded, a bit sick, have a racing heart, feel hot and flustered, your stomach churns. Maybe you feel breathless. Maybe your muscles ache. Maybe you get a dry mouth. Maybe you feel headachy. Or perhaps you notice that you feel more tired than usual. Now, for some of us, it's all about how we feel in our mind. We might notice that we struggle to concentrate. For some of us, we might feel that we just feel lonely. We might feel worried. We may struggle to sleep. We may feel annoyed or irritable. Perhaps you can't stop thoughts going round and round in your head. Maybe you find that you're on edge or jumpy. Perhaps you just feel flat or down, got the blues. Maybe you struggle with noises when there's lots of people around or smells. Or perhaps you feel negative or critical, especially about yourself. Now, it's unlikely that we feel all of these things all of the time when we're feeling anxious, but different people respond differently. And it's really good for us to be able to not only recognize what our body does when we feel anxious, but also to be able to spot the signs in those around us. Right. Now, if we're in class, we're going to divide into two groups. One group is the body group, one group is the mind group. And what I'm going to do, if you're not in class, you can just do this yourself. Looking at this list, I'm going to put up a scenario, and I want you to think, in that scenario, how does your body feel? How does your mind feel? Okay, are you ready? Here we go. So the first scenario. A teacher informs you that the headmaster wants to see you after the lesson. How does that make you feel? Pause the video and select any bullet points that you think applies to you. I remember at school that certainly would have made my heart beat a little bit faster. Right. Let's go to the next scenario. You're running for the bus to get to school and you realize you are about to miss it. How does your body feel? How does your mind feel? Okay, let's look at the next scenario. Your friends are talking excitedly about a party that you've not been invited to. How does it make your body feel? How does that make your mind feel? Pause the video and choose your points. Okay, let's look at our next scenario. You're in an exam and you realized you have revised all the wrong stuff. How does that make your body feel? How does that make your mind feel? Pause the video. Okay, so yes, one of the things we need to realize is that sometimes a feeling of anxiety is so important to protect us. And sometimes it's just our body's way of looking out for us. So for example, when I was 17, I was crossing the road from school and I got knocked over by a car. Fortunately, I wasn't too badly hurt, but it did frighten the living daylights out of me. And as a result, to this day, I am very nervous about crossing roads. And that's just my body's way of protecting me and making sure that I am very, very aware of what is going on around me. So a degree of anxiety is always a good thing. Okay, it's our body's way of trying to protect us. If this goes on long term, well, that is a different matter. Okay, we're going to play a game. This is called Panic Zone. Sometimes we feel so anxious that our brain pushes the panic button. When this happens, it can feel difficult to think clearly. Now, I'm going to give you a scenario, and I want you to think, is the scenario a 1 to 6, 6 being the worst in terms of panicking, or so bad you press the panic button, the red button. So you're going to show your fingers which number it responds to you, or you're going to push the virtual panic button if that's what you think, how you would respond. Okay, let's go. First one. A spider runs across the floor in front of you. Oh, some people don't mind. Some people, this is just the worst thing. Let's look at the next one. Your tooth is hurting and your mum books a dentist appointment. Some people going to the dentist is an absolute nightmare, and some people, they don't mind so much. Next one, you've got to walk home through a dark alley. Next one, you're at a zoo and someone puts a python on your hands. Oh, now this for me would be my red button. Coming from South Africa, I don't do snakes. So this would definitely be straight to the panic button. You lose your mates in a huge crowd. Oh, I remember thinking I'd lost my mum and dad while in a shopping centre, and that did feel pretty horrible. Interesting to see what you put. Someone dressed as a clown is walking towards you. Isn't this interesting? Some people have a fear for clowns, whereas other people just see the funny side of it. Our emotions and feelings change all the time. Ups and downs are a part of life, but for someone who's suffering from depression, these ups and downs may be more extreme. Feelings of failure, hopelessness, numbness, or sadness may invade day-to-day life over an extended period of weeks or months and have a significant impact on behavior and ability and motivation to engage in day-to-day activities. I want you to pause and watch this video, which explains the science behind depression, and then think, what did you take away from this video? Here's more activities. What are the kind of things you could do to help you when you're feeling blue? And if you feel that your depression, perhaps if that's something that you feel, or you know someone that feels that way, that it's something that lasts for a long period of time, like in the video, then do speak to somebody to get some support. And finally, the class ambassador can read this prayer, or you can read it quietly. Amen.